So here's a short story about a young guy who dodges a big one. I'm talking a missile after discovering that his fiancee is a big giant cheater. He discovered this all not too long before they get married. And like a lot of these stories, he discovered this by accident, by his fiancee's ignorance of technology. And now, thank the Lord, he sees the big picture and he's walked out on her. And I've been going to go over here, guys, making the point that it's probably a good idea that you are certainly knowledgeable about technology, and even better yet, better than your girl, because a lot of these stories involve them slipping up and the guy discovering. But if he wasn't very knowledgeable about technology, it wouldn't have happened. Titled, I, a 24-year-old male, discovered my fiancee, a 23-year-old female, her emotional affair when her messages popped up on my car's Apple CarPlay. She later lied about cutting contact. Says here, I, a 24-year-old male, was engaged to my fiancée, a 23-year-old female. Smack! Way too young. That's the last thing you'd be thinking about that age. If this was hundreds of years ago when people lived to be in their 40s, okay, I get it. But now, no. Well, we lived together, shared pets, had a future mapped out. Engagement, marriage, finances, kids. All discussed previously and agreed upon. This was not casual. We were together for 5.5 years and engaged for 8 months. Wow. Okay, high school sweethearts, or something pretty close to that. Thought he knew her. I just returned from a 3-day work trip. Things fell off when I got back. More distant, more irritable, quieter than usual. Then a few days later, out of nowhere, she tells me the following. She says, something feels wrong. There was no explanation, no specific issue she could point to. This was especially confusing because nothing had happened between us to trigger it. No, dude, a lot has been happening between you two. You just aren't aware of it. And of course she was very vague about it because that's just what she's doing. She's mind effing you. Well, I took it seriously. I asked her questions. I tried to understand. I gave her space. I did not accuse her of anything. I assumed this was anxiety, stress, cold feet, something we could at least talk through or work upon. Notice he's handling this rationally and not blowing things out of proportion. What I did not know was that during that time, she had already begun emotionally connecting with a 27-year-old guy, a coworker, behind my back, and I found it by accident. I think she was doing a lot more than emotionally connecting. I think she was connecting body parts. Well, her phone is connected to my car's wireless Apple CarPlay while I was getting ready for work. She had taken a mental health day and was still in bed. As I was about to pull out of the garage, messages from an unfamiliar name popped up and my discovery of this was made. Well, when I confronted her, she minimized it, of course, minimalized it, and said it wasn't like that. Said that I was overreacting and she just needed space. No, you're taking the mental health day, need all that rest, and some dude's messages are popping up. And now and I'm not supposed to be suspicious about that amongst how you've been behaving lately? You don't say that I'm overreacting. She's twisting things around, making him feel like he's the villain. She said she needed space. Shortly after, she pushed heavily and insisted for a 2-month, no-contact break to work on herself with very clear rules. No, if you're engaged, there's no 2-month, no contact break. There's no 2-day break. You talk things out, work on things, or it ain't going to work. What do you think she's going to be doing for 2 months? Monkey branching, finding this guy's replacement, or seeing if the guy she's cheating with will actually fulfill what she wants. Her clear rules, now listen to this. Number 1, no outside relationships. Well, I would hope not if you're engaged. 2, no emotional or physical involvement with others. Again, I would think not because you're engaged. 3, this is supposed to be time to reflect, not replace. Okay, these are all her rules, which of course she's full of crap on. No one should ever accept this. I hesitantly agreed to it at the time. Smack! Dude, you're setting yourself up for a disaster. She's probably like, oh my God, he actually fell for it. Well, don't worry, guys. Our guy, this won't last long. But before the break even officially started, I asked her one direct question. I said to her, have you blocked the guy you were talking to? Crickets. She looked at me in the eye and said, yes. Well, that was a lie. She continued talking to him. The rule was broken on day one. She lied about working that weekend, went on a date with him, and slept at his apartment the same weekend. Rules for thee, not for me. What do you think she wanted to do that whole 2-month thing with no contact? Be with this guy and see if it may actually work out with him. And if it doesn't, she can go back to this guy. Yeah, roll dice, huh? Well, when I found out, things escalated quickly. I was angry. I said harsh things. I confronted her directly about the lies, the manipulation, and the betrayal. I don't claim I handled it perfectly, but this reaction came after discovering that my fiancé had lied straight to my face while keeping another man on standby. Brother, you're the man on standby. And notice he said here, things escalated, I said harsh things, blah, 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 blah. And he claims he didn't handle it perfectly. Well, nobody handles things perfectly in the heat of the moment. And you know what? It's warranted for him to react in a way that obviously he probably yelled, cursed, all that. Nobody can blame him. The problem is that will be used against the guy. Now listen to this. Now she frames herself as not ready and me as reactive. Imagine if it was opposite. Just imagine the situation was reversed. You don't think she'd be reactive, finding out that her guy's banging some other chick? What is hard to swallow is the following. I acted in good faith upon the truth came out. I did not cheat on her. I did not lie to her. I didn't keep backups. I didn't use a break to test drive somebody else. That's why when they say they want a break, it's a bunch of crap, guys. Never go for it. Well, I went on to leave the relationship with my integrity intact, even if my emotions weren't pretty at the end. In other words, she's toast. Good job, dude. I'm not asking if it was perfect, or if I was perfect. I'm asking if it's reasonable to feel like the moral line was crossed long before my anger ever showed up. I've since cut contact and I'm focusing on rebuilding my life, but I wanted an outside perspective on whether my reaction overshadows the original betrayal. Brother, your reaction, however that was, and obviously it's a little vague here. He probably snapped, yelled at her, cursed, all that. It's warranted. She's freaking cheating on you. And this is the same chick who said, no talking to other people, no going out with other people, nothing physical. And that was the first thing she'd do. No. And I bet he's probably getting crap from people in his life, mutual friends and all that. Don't fall for that. And the sad thing is, he's 24. He's 24. He's got his whole life ahead of him. The positive, he's dodged a big one. He didn't marry her because she'd be cheating on him the whole time. The sad thing is that he's wasted a number of years with her. And it goes to show you, not all the time you can spend years with somebody and still they can be pulling crap behind the scene. But usually, the longer you're with somebody, the more eventually the true colors are going to come out. It did here. Thank God before they got married. But do not fall for the crap that you're the villain, you're the bad guy, because God forbid you had a reaction to how she's behaving. But you see how it's always may not be the guy's the bad guy here? This is why it's difficult it is, guys. You got to keep calm and cool no matter what's going on because it will be used against you. It's considered perfectly acceptable for a woman to lose her shit and yell and curse and throw dishes and all that because she's emotional, her hormones. But if a guy even raises his voice, that's labeled as abuse, abusive, and end of story here. It's not good. It's ridiculous, but you got to keep your cool. But fortunately, our guy dodged a big one. Now, oh, by the way, I bet you when things don't work out with that guy, she'll be back. Now, from the comment section, people say things to him and he responds. And one in particular is a good one with her family. One guy says here, she was having you-know-what with him before the break. He then come home to her acting weird because of their text. She had already been doing that before the work trip. Right, she's been cheating on him for a while. He says, you're honestly probably correct. She blatantly denies this, but she proved that every word out of her mouth couldn't be trusted. But that would explain the very odd behavior at the time, as I imagine the guilt was gnawing at them, and that is how they responded, even if they even felt guilt, who knows. No, she did not feel guilty at all, brother. Don't tell yourself that. Another one says here, let everyone know she cheated. And he says, now listen to this. My family knows, and her own family knows as well. Her mother even sent me a text apologizing on her behalf and saying she wishes she could put things back together. Her mother was polite and sounded to even be on my side with how things went down. In addition, her workplace certainly knows, as it's a breeding ground for rumors and drama already. It's in the nursing field. She's a nurse. There you go. Never, ever disappoints. And I like the fact that the mother is on his side. That's rare. And did she actually say she wishes she could put things back together? I'm not sure if it's the mom saying that, the mother-in-law, or the ex-mother-in-law, or the ex-fiance. I don't know. Now, the guys here, sometimes you get fortunate to find out your partner is morally bankrupt before the marriage. And I know in your case it still hurts, but you truly dodged a big one. You're doing the right thing. Whatever you do not take her back, no matter what she says or does. She will do it again. Cheating is a flaw in her that cannot be fixed or trusted. And our guy here says here, no plans whatsoever of even talking to her again. The bridge is gone and cannot be rebuilt at this point. I have a feeling history will repeat itself at some point, but that is not for me to care about anymore. Amen. And I'm not sure he means for him or her, but probably for her, yeah. Once a cheater, always a cheater. A leopard doesn't change its spots, so she'll do it to somebody else. And on top of that, the fact that her career, she's a nurse, that's just what they do. End of story. But I'm convinced that we'll stop working out with the guy she's hooking up with. He might get fired, I don't know. And she'll be back to this guy. But I wouldn't entirely trust that former soon-to-be mother-in-law, because she may really want this guy to be with her daughter, and she might be trying to be the negotiator to get these two talking. But he did the right thing. Him overreacting in whatever manner he did was not a bad thing. It's warranted, even though we get the bad rap because, God forbid, we react. And that's that. So he dodged a big one. Good for him.